Hey guys, it's Christian Butzek. Thanks for tuning in to my video blog. The topic of today's video blog is buying versus renting. And I want to really look at this because I believe if you understand the difference here, how these numbers work to you, you can create financial freedom for yourself. So this is very important, buying versus renting, and why buying is going to make you and save you a whole lot more money into the future. And we're going to run through two case examples here so you get the numbers and you can see them clearly. Now, what I want to touch on before we start is really there's two big hurdles people need to make to get into this buy category. The first hurdle I think is a mental one, and it's the commitment. The commitment of deciding to buy a home and to pay the bank a mortgage every month. And I've had people say to me, well, I don't want that kind of commitment. I don't want to be tied down. Sound familiar? And I would say to you the same. I'd ask you this question. If you didn't pay your rent, what would happen to you? You'd probably get thrown out of the apartment. You get evicted. It's the same thing with buying. So there's really no difference. You need to pay your rent. You're either paying your landlord or you're paying the bank. And that's the best way to think of it and get over that mental hurdle. The second is the financial hurdle. Obviously, if you were looking to get a home, you've got to have a down payment. Let's take a simple example. Let's say you wanted to buy a $600,000 condo. And that's the example we're going to work with for this video. You're going to want about a 20% down payment, which is $120,000, right? The bank's going to give you the other $480,000, but you're going to have $120,000 of your own money. And that's a big hill to climb for a lot of people. So what can you do? Well, a couple of things. First, don't put that burden all on yourself. I have 9 out of 10 clients. I would say 9 out of 10 of my clients gets help from their parents. In Vancouver, you really have to. If we were in Edmonton or Winnipeg, hey, you could do it on your own. But this is not a market where that's possible. It is in a few cases, maybe if you own your own business, if you're in sales, that sort of thing. But for most people, you're really going to need some help from your folks and talk to them. I've had meetings before in my office. I was sitting with my clients. They didn't know what to do. I made the suggestion. They talked to their parents, and every single time, their parents have been more than supportive to help them get a place. So that would be the first place. And a second might be even asking friends. I had a client who actually needed another $10,000, $15,000 just to have enough of a down payment. And he asked his good friends, and they helped him. They were more than happy to, because he had that kind of relationship of trust that they would forward him the money. So that's a couple examples. Other things that you could do is you could save, cut back on your expenses. So an example is, although I'm in sales and I'm a realtor, I do well. I don't drive a Ferrari. I don't drive a BMW. We've got a very basic car, my good old Ford, and that's all I need. And I've always made sure not to waste money. So saving, cutting expenses is a good thing. And sometimes you will have to work 2 jobs. I've seen clients in the past who had 2 jobs. 3 jobs. I remember meeting a gentleman at a goodbye party for my friends about 2 months ago, and his family came over from Vietnam, and he was just telling us about how he worked at CN Rail, and then he worked at the bar at night, and I think he was even doing a 3rd job, and he was so happy because he bought his first pre-sale. So it's a difficult market to break into. It's a big hill to climb, but once you do and you're in, hey, believe me, there's a lot of great things that can happen to you. In Vancouver, the markets will pick back up again. And so you might, if it's not this year or next year, 3 or 4 years from now, if the market goes up 10% from where you bought it, that's a lot of money to pay yourself, right? On a 10%, a $600,000 is $60,000. and an invisible income that you would pay yourself just because the value of your place has gone up by that much. Very important to understand these concepts. And I hope we're keeping it simple enough so that you do, okay? Now, let's run through this example. We're looking at a $600,000 condo, and what we're gonna do is let's look at the rent side first. If you were renting, the average one bedroom downtown, Cole Harbour, West End, downtown, Yaletown is going to be about $2,100 per month, okay? We're gonna call that $2,100 per month, and if we multiply that by 12 months, we're gonna come out to $25,200, I believe that's the number. It's roughly there. That's going to be the money you spend in rent for the whole year. Now, that's money that you never get back. It's gone. It's gone. And so now your landlord might be happy because you're helping him pay off his mortgage. But really, why not do this for yourself? That's the whole point. So let's jump into the buy category. Now, and I need to give you an example here, and if you've been following interest rates or you've been following the news, you'll know that one of the big banks is now offering a 3-year fixed interest rate mortgage at 3.19% interest. So I don't want to promote one bank over the others, but these are out there. Feel free to get in touch. Our contact info is below. But let's just use this as an example. You're getting a 30-year amortized mortgage, which means that over the life of 30 years, you would start based on how much you owe the bank, which is $480,000. It would take you 30 years to get to zero, okay? That's called the amortized period. Now, we're gonna use a 3.19% interest rate, and we're gonna assume that you have a 20% down payment. If you have more, great, right? It's even better. It's going to lower your monthly payments. But with this, your monthly payments are gonna work out to $2,000, and we're gonna just make that an M, $2,068 per month using these parameters, okay? Look at that. You're actually spending less per month on a mortgage than you are renting. And if you see these numbers are like this, you should have no hesitation about getting right in there and getting your own place, okay? Now, let's take that out. If we multiplied that by 12, we're gonna have your yearly payments are going to equal $24,812. Okay, so you are almost a wash here, but here's the kicker. This is divided into two categories. The interest that you're paying, right, which is like I call it the thank you money to the bank for giving you this much, right? And you're going to be paying off principal, right? And I'm just going to put a P there for principal. Principal is what you owe the bank. That's the $480 that you owe them. Now, at the end of 1 year, you have paid off almost $10,000 in principal. Okay? This is a very important number. What this means is you've actually paid your future self. I never got this until I owned my own property. But if you can get this and see that you have actually paid yourself almost $10,000, right? Because you've chopped this 480 to about 470 at this point. Imagine what this does for your future. At the end of 3 years, you've actually paid off $30,176. That's a huge amount of principal to pay off in just 3 years. And we're lucky because the interest rates are so low that you pay off a bigger part of that pie goes to paying off the principal. When the interest rates go up, you're paying mostly interest and very little principal. So this is one of the big advantages of low interest rates, okay? Now, you're paying off $30,000, so what? Well, here's the point. What if you wanted to go back to school in 3 years? You have just created your education fund, potentially. What if you had a family member in another country that got sick and you wanted to send money there for their health care? You can help that person. You can help them. So very important to understand this. What I've done when this has occurred in my case, I take this money and I use it as a down payment on another home. And you know what? That's the big secret. That's what a lot of wealthy people do, is they take this money, plus remember, over 5, 6, 10 years, your value of your property is going up. So if this is now worth $660,000, you actually would add $60,000 to $30,000. You would have an extra $90,000 in equity. That might be a down payment somewhere else. And that's how, and you just keep replicating the process. That's really all it is. So I wanted to take you through those numbers. I hope that makes sense to you. I really hope that you can see that this sets you up for financial freedom. That's the most important thing, is you want to do this for yourself. And the faster you start paying your own mortgage rather than your landlord's, the quicker you're going to be on a really, really good path in life. So feel free to leave comments below. Get in touch with us if you have any questions. And thanks very much for watching.